Well, welcome everyone. My name is Bobby Spiegel. I'm the President and CEO for the Corona Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome each and every one of you that are on the call live right now, as well those that are listening to it later on. We just did a quick self-introduction. We have 23 people logged on right now, and we're very excited to be able to bring this weekly update of what is going on the legislation. One of the key things that we do here at our chamber is our advocacy outreach. It's a very important part of the puzzle of doing business in California. And we know that it's often said that if you are not at the table, so to speak, you're probably the menu or on the menu as being challenged with different laws and stuff. We have a completely structured meeting today, and it is being chaired by our advocacy chair. He is a former state assembly member. He is retired from that, but when he was in the state assembly, he worked with all the different groups that were up there, but his focus has always been protecting business rights to ensure that we have a fair playing field and that we work with business-friendly legislation. Jeff Miller is also an insurance broker and has had a successful business here in Corona for a number of years. And in between the time he's owned that business and when he went to the state legislature, he was also our elected mayor of the city of Corona and city council member, served with pride and dignity, and again, always looking out for the business interest. He will be introducing everyone else that will have a part in today's call, but we encourage you every Wednesday to plug in at 10 o'clock so we can have a quick 25 to 30-minute update on what is going on. And I know there's a lot of activity. I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Miller.
Thank you, Bobby. Good morning, everybody. It's great to see you, and great to be part of the Legislative Action Committee. I'm honored to be chair, and we've got some really interesting bills to go over today that Jeff Gibson will be reviewing with us. And you know, we're in election season. Primaries have started, and buckle up. You know, it's going to be a ride, and we're looking forward to being a leader on providing you information that affects our business community. As always, to say a little prayer, lift those folks up in Ukraine in your prayers, and hopefully we can get a resolution to this nonsense sooner rather than later. Today's event is sponsored by AFE Power. There they are. AFE Power is a premier designer and manufacturer of automotive performance upgrade systems and components. Their product line includes air filters, air intake, exhaust systems for most late model cars and trucks. They are passionate about providing the most compelling, innovative, and highest performing products that are designed, built, and tested in the good old USA. Thank you, AFE Power, for sponsoring the meeting. With that, you can, there you go. You have a little chat button on the bottom. Feel free to click on that and ask any questions that you wish. And with that, I'd like to introduce our board chair for 2022, Paul Bender-Badesha, and she's going to give us some quick updates.
Thank you, Jeff. Just wanted to let you know about some exciting things happening at the chamber just when you thought it couldn't get any more exciting than it already is. So this week, for those of you, some of you may be aware, it's Small Business Week. And to celebrate this, we're running a contest. So we would like you to visit or promote 5 local businesses by Saturday, May the 7th, and you'll be entered to win a $100 cash prize. And you can do this by making a purchase and taking a picture of the receipt, leaving a positive review online, or posting a photo or video highlighting their business. And then all proof must be sent to Stephanie@mychamber.org. So this is a great way to give a little boost to our small businesses here in town. As you know, it's been a struggle for them, particularly retail and restaurants. So if you can do this, we would really appreciate it. $100 cash bill. All right. The next event I'd like to mention is Coffee with an Entrepreneur, coming up on Monday, May the 9th, 8 a.m. at the Chamber office. And our guest speaker is Larry Townsend. He developed the first trauma kit specific to gunshot stabbing wounds. So a real entrepreneur, visionary. You don't want to miss this. So register now at the bit.ly in the chat button. And then the final event I wanted to mention is happening next Thursday, May the 12th at 7 a.m. Very quick seminar regarding organic waste recycling. So some of you may know this new law went into effect this year and requires all businesses to participate in the organic waste recycling program. And we have some great speakers from Waste Management and other local businesses. They'll give you all the details that you need to know to stay compliant and do your bit for the environment. All right, go ahead and register now. And then I'd like to turn it over now to our marketing and sponsorship specialist, Tammy Harwick, to talk about sponsorship opportunities. Over to you, Tammy.
Thank you very much, Paul Bender. So I am very excited to let you know that besides those great events, which are free, we also have our Good Morning Corona coming up on the 20th. And we will be having the State Assembly Forum for the new district, District 63, that we will have the 3 candidates coming that you'll be able to speak with. So this is a really great opportunity for you to be able to network and build your business. And we do have other ways to be able to help you as well with our monthly newspaper and our e-blasts and so many other ways. So definitely get a hold of me or Robert to be able to help you build your business. And we're excited that you're here and we're excited that you're part of the chamber. Thank you. And I'll turn it back to you, Jeff.
Great. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Paul Bender. Let's get right into it. I'd like to introduce our legislative consultant, Jeff Gibson. Jeff Gibson owns Occidental Communications Group. He specializes for 35 years, he has specialized in political campaigns, public affairs, government relations, specializing in areas of transportation, environmental, and taxes and business in general. And with that, Jeff Gibson, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Wanted to jump right into this. There's some good economic news, believe it or not, for our area in comparison to the larger state economy. The most recent unemployment rate is 4.3% for the Inland Empire versus the rest of the state, which is at 4.9. That's an unusual position for us to be in. We're usually a large job creator, but we also usually have a slightly higher unemployment rate than the rest of the state. So it's good to see that is so strong for us. 4%, as we've talked about, is basically considered full employment. So we are, from an employment perspective, in a very good condition. From a larger economic condition, with the stock market being down, one of the reasons that the state has had such large surpluses is because of a record stock market produces record amounts of state collection of taxes on those sales, and so that's going to be something that we're tracking very closely, because as we move into an inflationary market, into a stagflationary market, this afternoon the Fed is considering a very large increase in the net interest rate, which could very well continue the tanking of the stock markets. You're not going to get the the taxes on assets that we previously were getting, which are part of the boom bust cycle that we have here in California. So we've been tracking that closely over the years, and we will continue to do that. Speaking of inflation, the two biggest pieces that we have identified that we haven't currently taken a position on are 2 bills that we're taking an opposed position on. Both are very important to us to oppose. and we're joining with the California Chamber and dozens of other business groups on these. The first is AB 2764 by Assemblymember Nazarian from Los Angeles. This would, as we referred to it last week, would essentially end the practice of commercially feeding an animal. So if you have a farm, if you have any sort of facility in which you feed an animal that could then be sold for a commercial gain, it would be outlawed in California. One of the things that this is drawing from is the elimination of commercial kennels and retail sales of pets in California for the farms and facilities that have raised them traditionally. Almost all of that now happens outside the state of California because of the restrictions on it. They're now moving, the legislature is considering moving into eliminating the raising of animals for food of any type, food or commercial products of any type in the state of California. About 40 to 45% of the meat that would appear, the meat, eggs, dairy that would appear in our marketplace come from California. So what you would have to see if this passes is a large string of trucks, much like we now are facing with dairy and eggs coming in from out of state, and obviously that harbs the climate footprint and all the other things that we're hoping for, and we're not looking for any additional reason for prices in California, which are we are experiencing a much higher level of inflation than the rest of the country because of our restrictive practices on the raising of items in the state of California. Not from the regulation, not from the climate perspective, but we're actually banning the production of many critical goods in the state of California. An example would be recently, including this last month, our national trade imbalance with Russia went up. We increased the amount of goods that we were importing from Russia, and we decreased the amount of goods that we were sending to Russia. And you would think, well, wait, I thought we weren't trading with Russia. You would think so if you read the headlines, but because California is one of the largest buyers of oil from Russia, we increased our oil purchases from Russia. So just consider that because of the restrictions on oil production in the state of California, because of the restrictions on energy production in the state of California, we are buying that energy from Russia. When it comes to oil, we are continuing to increase our use of coal-produced energy outside the state of California, which was one of the reasons why the governor endorsed nuclear energy and keeping Diablo Canyon open an additional 5 years. So this is a much more fluid environment that we are in than you might be seeing on your evening news. And so we'll keep you updated on that. But back to AB 2764, we have never been in favor of sending production of any good outside the state of California, in part because we are committed as a state to being the most climate sensitive. So why would you not want your eggs raised here? Why would you not want your dairy raised here? Why would you not want your meat or your agricultural goods raised here? Because we have the highest standards as opposed to someplace else. So that's the key driver for our opposition. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Jeff. There are no questions at this time.
All right. Then moving on to SB.
Jeff,
go ahead.
Jeff, can I jump in?
Sure.
Can I just jump in real quick? So is this bill designed to balance out humanely raising animals versus food costs, or is it, I guess I'm a little confused on how the practicality of how it would be. I mean, it eliminates the ability to feed any animal commercially.
Yes, you cannot,
I guess
you
I'm a little
cannot have a
confused.
facility that would feed an animal that for the purposes of commercial use of that animal. So if you had a cow and there's a former legislator who worked in the state legislature for years that would go to county fairs with his family throughout California. And if someone had a prized animal that they did not want to see used in commercial production, he would buy it. And it was just a standing offer to every school kid that raised a pig, and the family needed to sell it. And so he would not, in that case, he would not be able to. And now, from time to time, he does sell those animals, but not for commercial food purposes, but for stud or for other items. In that case, he could not. You couldn't do that in the state of California if this bill passed. You could not feed an animal that you were going to use in any sort of commercial transaction. So if you are raising horses, nope. If you are raising cows, nope. If you have basically a kind of a traditional gentleman's farm, like you have a couple of this and a couple of that and a couple of this, nope, couldn't do it.
So essentially, it puts all these businesses out.
Yes.
It closes all these businesses.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. SB 260. So going from agriculture to Amazon and the online supply chain, SB 260 would put any business that any organization that does over $1 billion in economic activity would be required to do an in-depth audit of their climate change activities, and then require any of its vendors of any size to do the same on an annual basis. And then the state would then rank those businesses for how they engage in legal activity, obviously for the purpose, and it's been stated in the legislative history, on the hope that it would generate lawsuits to drive those organizations out of either business, out of the state of California, or out of into changing what they were interested in doing. This is specifically targeting the supply chain. And so if you are, say, Paul Binder, and I don't want to pick on her, but she's on my split screen. So if she were to provide employment services or HR services to an organization that would then provide services to a large distribution company that would then participate in selling goods on Amazon, then every single part of that chain would then have to get into how many miles they drove every year, what type of gas they used, what their relationships were with buying energy, and why they made those choices. And then all of that would be published by the state of California, and which is never before been tracked. No other organization in the world tracks it. And it would then be available for inclusion of those businesses. The reason it would be gathered is specifically to encourage or intimidate employers into changing their legal buying and selling of energy. And that's what this is after. So clearly what you're doing is you are eliminating the capability of people to make legal choices. And now what you're doing is you're impinging on the supply chain to get its products done. And clearly that's what the author sums up as his hope. So yeah, this is a bill that's opposed by over 40 business groups. It's something that we're working on very hard. And one of the challenges that we're going to be facing as a state is that we have climate change goals that no internal combustion engine would be used, would be sold in a new vehicle after 2030 of any type. And the technology is not there to replace the 37 million vehicles that we have, much less the 18, the delivery trucks, vans, and the 18 wheelers. There is no technology to do that. And so it's going to be very difficult. There will have to be some sort of policy enacted there that recognizes that, because independent of the huge investment that we're making as taxpayers, ratepayers, and individuals in doing that, not saying that we're not committed to becoming more energy efficient, but the technology is not in place, and there is not the supply chain in place to be transferring millions of vehicles a year and tens of millions of vehicles a year, according to their own the legislative analyst charts, into new technology. So, in any case, happy to discuss that.
Thank you, Jeff. There are no questions.
All right. And in the interest of time, I yield it back to the chair.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. You know, folks, if you want to send a note in to our legislators, we can put up their contact information now if you've got it, Anthony. There you go. So if you want to register your support or opposition to these bills, please contact Assemblymember Sabrina Cervantes and Senator Richard Roth, and there's their contact information on the screen right there. And thank you very much. Thank you, Jeff. With that, I would like to just go to a few folks for some quick updates. Everybody introduced themselves, so I'm not going to go through and do any of the introductions, but I'm going to ask Brad to give us any quick updates from the Assembly Member's office, and then see if Sam or Linda want to give us any quick updates on COVID and the hospital.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. The only update I have is that we've been getting a lot of calls of folks wondering how to access the first-time homebuyers workshop that we had. It's on our Facebook and YouTube pages. If anybody needs that link and wants to send it out to anybody, I'd be happy to provide it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate you being on the call. Sam, Melinda, you have anything you want to give any quick updates on from Corona Regional Medical Center?
Okay, well, it's Linda. You know, things are pretty steady with COVID, very low numbers. Unfortunately, we have our first ICU COVID patient this week. We haven't had one in several months, so we're sad to see that, but still only a couple of patients with COVID, so that's good news.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Linda.
Can I just share also, Jeff, that next week we're celebrating National Hospital Week and National Nursing Week. So, you know, just give your fellow hospital staffers and nurses a pat on the back. They've had a rough couple of years.
No kidding. No kidding. No kidding. All right. Well, with that, folks, I'll let everybody, I'll get everybody off the call so they can go out and make a whole bunch of money. I did see that our mayor, Wes Speak, jumped on the call, and I think he may have signed off, but thank you, Mayor. There he is. Wes, any quick updates?
I mean, nothing big. I know that we held a quick update of our downtown revitalization plan. Sorry, my light's off. That's really bright. On Thursday, unfortunately, I was only able to hear just a brief presentation and not go talk to, go do some of they had some charrettes up for people to look at. The council will be getting a view with some concrete details and what they're hearing back from the public on the plan and actually seeing the plan. We have not seen it yet. And I think that's probably, for update wise, I mean, there's a lot of good things happening. Please, pay attention to the stuff that we're doing. We're doing good things, and a lot of great projects. I did sit on there a couple bills, and maybe that you guys might want to talk about these later on. One, it was it's AB 2295, is a school property and housing project, which is basically would allow school districts to build housing on their surplus property and become developers, but provide that it would be only rentals, and so density housing for its employees or other public entities. And I didn't think that was a great method to spend or to push out the folks that were kind of big class of people. And then the next one was a social housing bill, which is AB 2023, which is California Housing Authority would be giving real powers to actually provide and build housing. Sorry.
Hey, Wes, we're getting some.
Anthony, can you mute everyone? Is there a way to do that? Thank you. And then unmute the mayor.
I got it. I'm good. I think
Okay.
I got it. So there's a California Housing Authority bill. It's called social housing, which is basically would provide the state would enter into the housing building process. And actually, if there's a difference between RENA production and RENA planning, that they would insert themselves and build housing. And with, of course, no accountability to local agencies. There's no funding associated, which means that they're probably going to be stealing funding from other entities that are actually have experience doing this and create a whole new bureaucracy. So I voted to oppose that in committee, and there was a lot of arguing back and forth, which I'm completely surprised that there are some cities that aren't fighting back for local control. But my opposed motion, unless amended, failed 18-22. But the support if amended, which and included the same amendments, which it's kind of a nuanced thing, but hopefully this gets approved, or if it does move forward, it goes through with the amendments, which is that it have to be ID'd as a site, a priority site in our local plan. It must follow local standards, that will still have local controls over approvals. That the definition of a major transit stop needs to be near rail and not just random bus lines that can be changed. And they must pay dip fees and provide for infrastructure improvements, and not just kind of saddle the agency. And that there are no they pay taxes, because these areas, if they're a school district, they don't have to, so they still have to pay the amounts that they would be paying if any other builder would come to town. And then lastly, that it would not affect the money that's being put aside for local groups to build housing. And that's it.
Great.
Thanks, Jeff.
That is, Jeff, did you have any comments about any of those items that the mayor spoke about?
Yes, on the last bill that he was speaking about, school districts have a very specific ability to build schools almost completely independent of local planning codes. And from time to time, that creates a lot of controversy and issues, because a school district can buy industrial land and convert it into a school. The idea was the state legislature gave them that authority specifically so that they could expand schools as necessary. The issue that we have now is that schools, because of a number of different development agreements, have a great deal of surplus property, because year over year, we're losing about 120,000 students a year, which is the equivalent of a large urban school district. And so these pieces of property, this is a very active issue. You could have a school site, you could have other areas, and cities and school districts have entered into long agreements over how to redevelop school sites, because and school districts have regularly gone both as organizations, as associations, and individually to the legislature to give themselves the capability of building housing just like they can build schools. And that clearly was not the legislative history. So this is a big issue, and I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, Mayor. And we definitely, if you want to send me the information that you have, we'll definitely take a position on it. Because
we
because
definitely need to. Yes.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, we
Go ahead.
definitely need to be tracking that.
Yep.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Jeff.
I
Thank
was
you,
going to say
Wes.
the social housing one is even scarier. Just
Yeah.
because
No,
it
absolutely. Send that
allows
to me
it.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Social housing.
I'll send you both, Jeff.
So Jeff, we did get a question in the chat. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit on the gas tax going up this summer.
Yes.
Any info on that might be helpful to us on what's going on with the gas tax?
The governor has announced that he will not exercise. He does not consider what we're going through to be an emergency. He has the authority under code to issue an emergency finding and eliminate the increase in the gas tax, which is determined by the California Air Resources Board. Air Resources Board is considering a 50 to 89 cent increase in that's an increase, folks. That is not a new, that is right now the state takes about $1.29. They would be considering taking up to $2.15. And the governor has decided and announced that he is not going to stand in the way of CARB doing that, and that we're not in an energy emergency. When in our area, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics this morning, we are looking at an average gasoline price of $5.82 for a gallon of a regular. So yeah, this is it's a very real threat. It's something that we're tracking, and we have definitely, along with dozens of other groups, made the case to the governor that he needs to step in, declare it an emergency, and pause on this. So yeah, no, it's a very real thing that we are looking at.
It's sobering. Thank you, Jeff. We'll keep an eye on that and keep you posted. I want to we went way over. Sorry about that, but I think the information was really good. Thank you, Wes, for coming on. We really appreciate that. I want to just thank again our today's sponsor, AFE Power. They are focused on bringing the best products and customer experience to the end user. Their product line includes over 2,500 applications, which are all designed, developed, and manufactured in Corona, California. Learn more at afepower.com. Again, just make sure you have Good Morning Corona plugged into your calendar. We're having our candidates forum, as Tammy had covered later this month, and you'll get a chance to meet one of our new representatives in the newly formed Assembly District. So please mark your calendar for that. Lastly, I'll adjourn the meeting. See you on May 11th, and we'll do this again. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, everyone.